What's up, guys? Welcome back into the channel. The international break has come to an end, and we now know every team that will be competing at next year's World Cup. There's going to be no Italy yet again. Absolutely unbelievable that they're going to miss the third straight World Cup, considering the historic success Italy have had at World Cups. There'll be no Denmark. They lost to the Czech Republic, which makes it even more heartbreaking that Ireland couldn't get past that Czech Republic team. The Democratic Republic of Congo are going to be at the World Cup. There's going to be a lot of first-timers, a lot of new faces at the World Cup, and I'm all in for it. But today, I want to turn your attention to Portugal. That's the team this video is going to be about, and they're a really, really interesting outfit. I'm really interested to hear your guys' thoughts on why you think there hasn't been as much noise about them compared to some of the other teams like your France, your Brazil, your England, your Argentina. I'm wondering why Portugal aren't in the same vein as them. As you can see here, they are the 6th favourites to win the World Cup this year, and that's a pretty good spot for them. I guess it's fair, but I feel like they haven't been talked about in that same vein. And that's for two reasons. The two reasons that I think about that being the case. The first one is the manager. Roberto Martinez, he's got this reputation for being this great manager, this great coach. But then you look at his resume and you're like, what has he actually done? He won the FA Cup with Wigan. Obviously an unbelievable achievement. And he kept Wigan in the Premier League for a few seasons. But other managers before him were able to keep Wigan in the Premier League. So why is that such a huge achievement? He went to Everton, didn't really do anything spectacular. They were competitive, but they never got to the Champions League. They never won a cup. Again, so pretty fine, underwhelming. And after that, he was handed the keys to the Belgium team, prime Belgium. This is the golden era of Belgian football, and Martinez was the guy that they chose to go and lead them with that golden generation. And what did he have to show for it? At 4 major tournaments, he reached the semi-finals of the World Cup in 2018. Good achievement, but the quality of that team, maybe they could do more. Outside of that, out in the group stage of the 2022 World Cup, really disappointing. At the European Championships, never got beyond a quarter-final, and went out in the last 16 stage at the most recent tournament. And then he goes out of that job and walks straight into the Portugal job. Another big-time job. This guy must just have the keys to success when it comes to interviewing. My God, he needs to do a TED talk on how to nail a job interview, because that just seems to be what Roberto Martinez is able to do. Since coming in at Portugal, he's done a good job. They've obviously qualified for the World Cup, quarterfinals of the European Championships, and they won the Nations League in 2025. So he's had some success. I just don't know if he's the guy to really truly lead them forward. Obviously, it helps that they were able to win that Nations League. He's shown that he's capable of winning something at the international level. That is an impressive feat. You're just looking at, I just don't know if I believe in him, and I'd love to know if that's the reason why maybe we think Portugal are not getting the hype or not getting the buzz around them that maybe they should. People just don't believe in Roberto Martinez. I know that's my opinion, but it's also been my opinion, kind of watching from the outside, that everyone seems to think that Roberto Martinez is this unbelievable football mind and this great manager. So then why aren't they kind of showing that by hyping up this Portuguese team? Very, very interesting to see how that goes. Can he get this Portuguese team to the next level? In the modern era of football, they have reached the semi-finals of the World Cup once, but that was back in 2006. Since then, they haven't got beyond a quarter-final. And you're just kind of thinking, is this the guy? The team, I think this might be the team to be able to get them further down the line. But is this the manager to be able to get the most out of these players, to be able to go toe-to-toe with the best managers in international football, your Didier Deschamps, your now Carlo Ancelotti's, your Thomas Tuchel's, and be able to have the edge on them? That's where I'm just not 100% sure. And if that's one of the reasons why maybe people aren't so enamored with this Portuguese setup, I think I would be in that park with you. I kind of could really see that argument. And then the other argument I think we have is they're too reliant on Cristiano Ronaldo. This is a 41-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo who's going to be playing at this summer's World Cup. And it still feels like he is just their only real constant goal threat. And you're just Is that okay? Can that still be a thing? Like are they just too reliant on what he provides as a goal scorer? Is that another fear that people have with this Portugal team? I think that it is, and I'm like, I want to like shut it down and be like, no, what are you talking about? Ronaldo's just this all time legend. But then again, I'm also like, it's kind of fair. He offer very much in terms of all round play? No. But if you're able to create the chances, you want him above anyone else on the team on the end of them to be able to finish them off. So at the end of the day, it's more just a criticism of the Portuguese system that they haven't been able to produce any other strikers to be able to come in and replace Ronaldo. It's not like Ronaldo's just here on merit. He is still producing. He got 5 goals in 6 games during qualification. Like that's a really good return. Scored some big goals for them, like the winner against the crucial goal against Ireland. Like he was huge for them in qualifying. Like he can still do it. He can still score goals. So I guess like that argument is somewhat fair, and maybe we'll see him kind of really look like that guy who's just passed it this summer at the World Cup. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But like that Gonçalo Ramos just hasn't kicked on. He just hasn't stepped up. He obviously got that move to PSG, but since then he really is kind of flattered to the sea. He's been fine, but hasn't like nailed down a starting role with that team. Really is like kind of uninspired. And like you're looking around, João Felix again, another player, not like a true number 9. Hasn't ever really done anything spectacular at club level, despite also making a huge big money move to Atletico Madrid. He's kind of bounced around teams since then, never really doing anything. So I mean, Ronaldo kind of is the default, and the fact that he's still scoring goals, he's got to be the starting striker for this team. There's no one else who's like went and grabbed that position from him. I think if that was the case, he wouldn't just be keeping out. They wouldn't just be commuting to him as a starter by merit just because he's the captain, just because of what he's done for Portuguese football. If there legitimately was someone to come in and deliver at the same level that Ronaldo is delivering at, then I think that player would be in. A younger player that could kind of get around more, could help out pressing more, be more involved in all-round play. Like that person would be in the team. That person just does not exist. That's the reason why Cristiano Ronaldo is still the starting striker for this Portuguese team. So I mean, what are the other qualms outside of this too? Because like, look at this. This is like my predicted starting lineup for Portugal at this summer's World Cup. Costa, one of the better goalkeepers in world football, in European football. Like he's been long touted. I know, like he's still playing Portugal, so maybe he doesn't have that hype around him. But a really high quality goalkeeper. Right back, you got João Cancelo. Could easily be Diogo Dalot. Fine players. Like they're gonna get the job. They're gonna get the job done. They can both get up and down the wing. That's huge. Diaz and Ignacio. Like that's a really solid centre back pairing. And then a left back, arguably the best left back in the world, and that's Nuno Mendes. Absolutely superb player, can get up and down, can be such a huge attacking threat as well as a more than competent defender. And then the midfield, like you can make the argument that this is the best midfield in international football. They have the 2 PSG boys, Vitinha and João Neves, and then Bruno Fernandes in that number 10 role. Like, what more could you want from your midfield? That you have the combativeness, you got the quality on the ball. Maybe just lacking just a slight bit of size and physicality, but I think they can get around that. Like, especially Neves, just like so smart at like predicting where the ball is going to land. And Vitinha is just Mr. Suave, just so good on the ball. And then you have Fernandes in front of them who can get around the pitch as well as anyone, and he'll be the guy that's creating all the chances. He'll create the opportunities. It's just a question of if they have the guys there to finish them off, and he can also contribute goals as well, which is huge. I'm interested to see where they go with the wide players. I have here Pedro Neto on the right wing, and I think Silva on the left wing. I think they're going to want to still start Bernardo Silva, and I think they're maybe like will shift him towards the left side where we have Nuno Mendes, who's really capable of getting up and down the line in the way that obviously Silva's not going to really beat players down the wing or anything like that. I think they're still going to want him in the starting lineup, but I think more towards the left side. So they have Mendes there to kind of pick up the slack and kind of do overlapping runs at him to kind of give him a bit more space. I think that's going to be key. And then, of course, you got Ronaldo as a striker. We already talked about him. Like, that is as good a team as probably anyone else in the competition, maybe outside of France. Like, that's starting 11, and there still could be switches there. There could be, you can see Ruben Neves come in. You could see Fernandes play a bit further forward. Like there's still different ways that they could go with that. But like even just that team is so strong. Like I said, as a starting 11, I would maybe only say France, maybe Spain. We still don't know what England's starting 11 is going to be. So like you look at like maybe Spain or France are teams that can really like match that in terms of the all-round quality within the squad. It's just obviously being dragged down. You're thinking, can they still rely on a 41-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo to score enough goals for them? Do they have enough goals in the team? That's kind of the question that comes in. But Fernandes contributed 3 goals during qualification. Neves managed to get 3 goals during qualification. Like, there is goals in this team. They will be able to find them. They will create the chances. Bruno Fernandes, I think, is capable of stepping up and scoring. Bernardo Silva, he's always been capable of stepping up with a goal for Manchester City. Let's see if he can do it with Portugal too. And Ronaldo, like, I still believe that he'll probably still get at least 2 or 3 goals at this summer's tournament. It's just going to happen. It's just inevitable. There's going to be enough chances created for him that he will just score the goals. It's just as simple as that. It's just a question of when they get to the latter rounds, will they have enough against the younger teams, against the teams like France, who Mbappe, I know I'm obviously believing more in Mbappe delivering at this summer's tournament than Cristiano Ronaldo, but they scored the same amount of goals in qualification, which is kind of funny to think of. But do they have enough going against those teams is maybe where I wonder. But like, their depth is good as well. You think around the forward line, you got like Leao, you got like Trincao, Neto, Goncalves, like Joe Felix. There's like plenty of guys around that can like come in and do a job, that can fill in, that can come off the bench and make an impact. And then given in the midfield positions, like I mentioned, Ruben Neves before, João Palhinha, Matheus Fernandes, like Bernardo Silva, if he was maybe to not start, and they go for more like kind of out and out wingers on each side. There's still so much quality and depth within this squad that I really think that they could make some noise. This could be the year that Portugal get back to at least the semi-final. I'm not really like, I would still kind of think of them as a dark horse to win the whole competition, but can they find a way to just dominate and overpower guys in midfield, and can that be their key to success? Because like we talk about PSG as being like this all dominant team with this like the best midfielder in the world, that's Portugal's midfield plus Bruno Fernandes. Like that's just the way that is. Like that's just a matter of fact, and they just have the quality all round. I love their fullbacks. I love the impact that their fullbacks could make in attacking situations. Also being solid defensively. I believe in their backline being solid. Like there is a lot of quality in this Portugal team. I'm just really interested to see. It comes down to, can Ronaldo still get the goals? Can he be? What sort of hindrance does he put on this team in terms of their ability to build attacks through the forward line, to press high? That's going to be the interesting thing. What sort of impact what sort of deterrent does Ronaldo end up being in that sort of situation? And does that ultimately cost him? And also, Roberto Martinez, he's not a manager that I fully believe in, not a manager that I will be like, yes, that's my guy. I believe in him getting the job done in the biggest moments. That's when I look at a Carlo Ancelotti or a Thomas Tuchel as two of the newer managers coming into this World Cup. I believe in both of them being able to get a job done game on game against the very best, compared to a guy like Roberto Martinez, who I just do not have that faith in. I've always been against Martinez. I've never known why he's found his way into so many jobs. Like I mentioned before, this guy just knows how to interview like nobody else in world football. He really hasn't achieved that much, but this is a big moment. This is the moment for him to turn things around. This is like imagine Cristiano Ronaldo can like leave his lasting legacy to be a World Cup, the first ever World Cup in Portuguese history. He delivered the first ever European Championship in Portuguese history. Imagine at his last ever World Cup, at 41 years old, if he could find a way to deliver the World Cup to Portugal along with the rest of the team. I don't think he wouldn't be having the same level of impact. I don't think that maybe Messi had in 2022. I don't think if Portugal were to win the World Cup this year, Ronaldo would be getting the Ballon d'Or or anything like that. I think other guys are going to have to play a big part. Like I mentioned, the midfield, like I mentioned, Bruno Fernandes, I think he's going to have to be really, really big for them this summer. But imagine like Ronaldo just being a part of that squad at all, sticking around to like as long as he could still stand and run, he was still sticking around that Portugal team, and to deliver a World Cup would just be unbelievable, and just further add to his already outstanding trophy cabinet is already extending legacy. Like, this is just the final thing. This is the only thing that's not on there. So, I mean, the story is right there. A lot of people won't like it because we all know people have differing opinions about Ronaldo, but I'm a Ronaldo lover, if you couldn't tell from the way I've spoken about him throughout this video. So, like, I would love, like, the story side of it. It would potentially be the best storyline in the World Cup, them going on and winning it, right up there alongside probably Messi managing to go back to back, matching Maradona with the 2 World Cups, and Tuchel, a German manager, coming in and managing to lead England back to the promised land that they haven't reached since 1966. Those are probably kind of like the 3 top storylines. Those are like the 3 things that I'm like holding on to and watching, and like saying I would be so happy if any 3 of these were to come to fruition this summer. I already talked in my previous video. I talked about France being the favourites for this tournament. I do believe that they're a better team that lost the European Championship semi-final to Spain. I believe they're a better team that lost the World Cup final to Argentina back in 2022. I do believe they are the favourites. I'm like quietly interested to see how Brazil got on with King Carlo, the man with the Midas touch. I'm just not sure if their team makes enough sense. I don't know if they have enough quality in the squad. I know this is a crazy thing to say about Brazil. Not sure if they've got enough quality to really make that noise, but that's another storyline that I'm very interested to see. Can King Carlo return Brazil to the promised land? As I also mentioned in the previous video, history is on their side, so go back and check both of those out, see what I had to say about France, see what I had to say about Brazil. But Portugal is going to be an interesting one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What are your thoughts on Roberto Martinez as a manager? Are they too reliant on Cristiano Ronaldo? You let me know in the comments, but I just got to say, what a story that it would be. Can Portugal find their way back into not just a World Cup semi-final, but maybe can they go all the way? They are the dark horses. They're right there with Brazil as like my dark horse picks. I know it's like crazy, these huge nations, how can they be dark horses? But let's be honest, no real dark horse is ever going to win the World Cup. Like Norway, I'm excited to see what maybe they can do after their dominant qualification. Like, they're not winning a World Cup. No true dark horse is ever going to win a cup. So you got to look at the teams that are kind of 4th and 5th favourites to go and win it all. They're in my opinion, are the semi-realistic dark horses that can go all the way. So I'm super excited for this summer's World Cup. I mean, the season almost can't end quick enough. I know there's not too much excitement around the world of football outside of maybe the Champions League. Obviously, I'm still excited to see how that plays out. But I'm just really excited to get forward and get to this summer's World Cup. Now that the table is set, we know all the teams that are qualified. I'm ready for this summer's World Cup. And make sure you like and subscribe. I'll be doing much more content here, focus on the World Cup as well as the Premier League and the Champions League. Got it all covered for you here on the Hand of Gaine. Until next time, guys, take care.